Alright, welcome back. We're getting up on the home stretch now. We've completed Atlantis and El Dorado, we did El Dorado first. And now we are returned to Shangri-La. We only just sort of scratched the surface here. But now we have that silk scarf that was called for, so we can proceed. Anyway, we're over here in the greenhouse, where we left off. And it's worth taking it's worth taking a minute to have another look at these Buddha statues as we're making our way along.
The shrine of the Praetus realm, to sate their eternal hungers.
Right. And the gardener, when we talked to him earlier, mentioned that the Praetus are hungry ghosts, beings that have been reincarnated to suffer for a life of gluttony.
These Buddha statues around this monastery are identical except for their color. From my understanding of the Buddhist religion, certain qualities like sounds, elements, and colors have significant meanings. So we need to find out what these colors signify.
Something to keep in mind for later. Alright, let's go. So there's the gardener. I think we've said all to him that we're going to say. So we'll leave him be for now. Enjoy this view again. So you may remember from the last time we visited Shangri-La, the gardener mentioned steam tunnels that provide heat and keep parts of the monastery plateau thawed out, which they wouldn't otherwise be in this environment. That'll be important later. Alright. And we already looked at this earlier.
Om Mani Padme Hum.
Yeah, the first part we did when Shangri-La, he actually explains what Om Mani Padme Hum means, but just something worth bearing in mind for later. So the first Buddha we saw was the Praetus realm. What's this one?
The shrine of the animal realm, to enlighten the savage. I believe those deer represent Buddha's first sermon in Benares, India, where it was said that even the animals approached to listen.
So did the yaks, apparently. Sounds like, which saint is it that's supposed to, in Christianity, that's supposed to talk to animals? St. Francis of Assisi? No, whatever. Anyway, I'll edit out the transitions between some of these spaces once we've been back and forth a few times, as with this one. It just occurred to me as I get ready to go see the guard again, that we found the silk scarf on the Egyptian ship in Atlantis. Hey, big guy. But we could conceivably, well, I can't do it now because I'm standing right in front of him. I could conceivably talk my way into the monastery just fine now that I've got the appearance of the gardener, because he's a known quantity. I'm thinking I'll use the scarf now just to say that I did, but that's your out if you couldn't find the scarf in time, but you did find the gardener. Anyway, talk to this guy.
Greetings, stranger. Do you wish to cross the bridge?
Yes.
Yes.
You must give the offering of the initiate before you can cross the bridge and enter Shangri-La.
Okay, we established earlier that's a silk
Will
scarf.
the scarf allow me to enter?
Welcome to our order, initiate. Go back down the stairs. I will extend the bridge for you. For the protection of Shangri-La, I will have to retract the bridge once you cross. If you wish to travel over the bridge again, just ring the bell on the other side. Once you reach the monastery, seek Lama Dustin for instruction immediately.
Well, refreshingly clear set of instructions, since we have some questions to ask.
Is that a llama with two L's?
Lama Dustin is the spiritual leader of our order. He is a teacher of Buddha's ways and the wisest man I know.
Where can I find the Lama?
You will find him inside the monastery. Once you cross the bridge, enter the prayer hall. Go there and he will train you.
Goodbye.
So that's how that works. Alright, clever. Take a minute to just enjoy the view of the whole monastery. Like I said, this is... I can never remember the name of this building in Kathmandu that has the dome with the eyes on top of it, and then this looks like the Patala Palace in Lhasa in Tibet. Not sure what that part's supposed to look like. Is that the greenhouse? Wait. Oh yeah, I think it is the greenhouse. It's weird how the whole structure is kind of built on two levels or two rings here. It's cool though. Alright. So, guard guy says that the boss monk is in here. There we go.
The dangling cylindrical columns hanging from the ceiling are victory banners. They represent the victory of Buddhism over ignorance and death. That other banner represents the victory of the Boston Dobs over the Nepal Red Yaks in the 44 series.
Okay, I have to admit even I think that one's kind of funny. Alright. And I love the music in this space. It's basically just a very simple loop of, drums, bells, and then Tibetan monks praying. But God, it's relaxing. Anyway, come on up here.
The shrine of the human realm, to humbly contain our pride.
Yet oddly, I think it's the biggest of the Buddha statues we've seen so far. So we keep getting reference to all these realms. So how do we do this? Ah, here we are. I love all the little tapestries and things hanging on the wall. It looks like my grandmother's front room. All right, so this must be the man himself. So let's introduce ourselves.
A new initiate. Welcome to Shangri-La. I am Lama Dalsdin Gyopa. I will be your teacher as you begin your path to Buddha. We lead simple lives dedicated to alleviating the suffering of the unenlightened. We constantly meditate to improve ourselves so that we may one day find Nirvana. It is a hard existence, but a good one. You undoubtedly have questions.
Oh, how nice of him to ask. Alright.
Who are the unenlightened?
Those that are still trapped on the wheel of life. Those that die and do not reach Nirvana are sent to one of the realms of the wheel to be reborn.
The notion of reincarnation dominates the Buddhist religion. The image of the wheel of life is a symbolic one, going with the idea that life is a cyclical, circular process, constantly turning and returning.
That's about right.
What is the wheel of life?
When a person dies, karma forces the spirit to enter one of the 6 unenlightened realms. If the person led a life of vice, then he or she will go to a realm that embodies that vice. If the spirit does not achieve nirvana, then it is fated to wander, to be reborn again into another of the 6 realms. The wheel always turns. Only by learning the virtues that deliver us from the different realms can one escape and reach nirvana.
Well then, and about that...
What is nirvana?
Excellent question. Nirvana is a state of mind, a location, a being. It is reached when one has achieved the intellectual perfection of the Buddha. It takes enormous focus, but the reward is eternal peace. We strive every day for Nirvana.
That's a solid sales pitch. Alright, I think that's all we have to say to him at the moment.
Goodbye.
Now, initiate, explore the monastery and pay respects to the shrines to begin your new trek for inner peace.
Well, don't mind if I do. Alright, he said explore, let's explore. Now, characteristically, I've done a bit of pre-exploration, to make sure that you don't have to watch me just dawdling around and bumping into walls. So, I have a vague idea of where to go. Alright, so first things first, I did go over there and check. There's a nice tree, but there's really nothing else over there. So instead we'll go this way. And, no, we can't go over there. So, okay. Down we go. So oddly enough, heaven knows why, but the way it's set up, you cannot access...
That tent seems out of place. If my history serves me, that yellow banner atop the tent bears a Mongolian symbol. And if history serves me further, the great horde of Genghis Khan was terrorizing Asia about this time. Well, there goes the neighborhood.
Apparently the Khan is struggling with Om Mani Padme Hum in there. Anyway, yeah, that's rather startling. What was I saying? I was going to say that there's no way to get to the garden, the greenhouse from here. You have to go all the way back and around, which I think, again, is less from any internal logic so much as that you need to be able to experience something in Shangri-La, even if you haven't found the silk scarf yet. But more interest, the Lama said, pay our respects at all the shrines, and we found, let me see, 3 so far. I think this would be number 4. Oh, and Arthur has commentary.
The Lama told you to pay respects to the shrines.
Oh.
I assume the colored statues around the monastery are the shrines he was speaking of.
So am I.
The shrine of the Ashurus realm, to guard the Titans from themselves.
That's one I hadn't heard of. Actually, that was something that was new to me in terms of what little I knew about Buddhism, is this concept of realms. Except for Nirvana. I knew about Nirvana, but I never thought of it more than that. Anyway, so let's move over here first, just to say that we've seen everything. We'll swing by again on the return leg. So I'm trying to remember actually how far you can go over here. I don't think there's anything over here, but I've been wrong before. Yeah, this area, as far as I can tell, is just a courtyard. It doesn't do anything from a gameplay point of view. Nice though. And again, with all the trees they can have, despite the fact that we're on a frozen mountainside because of these heat tunnels that they apparently have. Alright, well here's a door at least. Nip in here for a minute. Alright,
That gruesome-looking fellow above the door is Yama, the Hindu god of the dead. His presence at the doorway could be symbolic. I think he represents the borderline between life and death.
Which naturally leaves you wondering what's on the other side of the door.
There are actually many mythological and religious figures that are common to both Hinduism and Buddhism. Siddhartha, the man who became Buddha, was originally a Hindu from India. He infused some of the elements of the Hindu religion when he created Buddhism.
The version of it I heard was essentially that, you know, the wheel of reincarnation is a thing in Buddhism, and he was sort of taking the next step. I guess you could probably make an analogy to, you know, Jesus essentially just trying to take a next step in Judaism rather than found a completely separate religion called Christianity. But like I said, I'm not the expert. Anyway, we have another shrine here.
The inscriptions on the statues said that they were shrines of certain realms. From what the Lama told us about the Wheel of Life, it sounds like these statues each represent one of the 6 realms of unenlightenment. The gardener said that he gives offerings to the shrine to alleviate the suffering of those trapped in the Praetus realm. We know that there is a colored shrine for each of the 6 realms. I have a feeling that the yellow Buddha is not the only statue that takes offerings. The shrine of the god's realm, to awaken the vein with the music of the jewel.
And I'm going to click this one more time.
This inscription sounds cryptic, but important. I'm not much of an authority on Buddhas and their realms, so we should probably go speak to the Lama about this.
I was trying to... I can't remember where he says this, but Arthur makes a joke that was one of the few that I'd actually sort of foreseen, where he calls the Lama Blinky, because when you talk to him, he blinks ridiculously fast, and my working hypothesis is he's kind of lit from below during the dialogues. I'm thinking the light's getting in the actor's eyes a little bit. Anyway, let's just get through here. Okay, what have we here?
This looks interesting. If I'm not mistaken, and I rarely am, the mural depicts the Buddha entering 6 different segmented realms.
Yep, again with this theme of realms.
I'm kicking myself for it now, Gage, but I chose to read Amish Better Home and Garden over the Buddhist art of tapestry and decoration. So we should go ask the Lama about this art piece.
Yes. Yeah, so this is definitely a running theme we've got going on here. This actually, I don't know if this is taken from a real tapestry. It kind of looks like a Hieronymus Bosch painting in a funny way. But and we can get more out of this apparently. So I would assume Nirvana is a bit in the middle, but I honestly have no idea. But
in that segment, the Buddha is carrying a lute, a stringed musical instrument. In that segment, the Buddha is carrying a fiery sword.
Seems oddly out of character for him, but...
In that segment, the Buddha is carrying a book. In that segment, the Buddha is carrying fire. In that segment, the Buddha is carrying a piece of fruit. In that segment, the Buddha is carrying a bowl.
Nifty. Alright, well, that's about all we can do with that. This is a huge hall. Maybe this is the place where they all sit when they're having group prayers and meditation. Seems like the sort of place you'd do that. Anyway, I don't think there's a heck of a lot we can do with it right now, but let's just go down and have a closer look so at least we know what we're looking for the next time we come here.
Gage, that depiction of the 6 segments we saw on the wall is duplicated on the floor of this temple.
So it
It
is.
has great meaning to the monks of this monastery.
Oh, I see. It's a little hard to tell sometimes where the arrow is going to take you, because it kind of only works in straight lines, and of course we're walking around, well, what I presume to be the Wheel of Life that I think we mentioned earlier.
That white statue is holding a lute, a musical instrument, while the other hand is outstretched, as if it's waiting for something.
Looks a little bit like a version of the statue we saw outside in the entrance hall to this place.
Gage, the entire floor shows the 6 realms of the Wheel of Life.
Yep, so it does. Alright, well, we've gotten so far, and I think I think the message you get at this point is we want to find out about these realms and to understand them as much as possible. So we'll start making our way back to the Lama to talk to him about that, and while we're at it we can make inquiries of that fellow who we may safely assume is Genghis Khan. Alright. So, he appears to be deep in thought, so steal his identity for future use and then see if we can carry on a conversation with him.
What are you doing here, you audacious fool? Do you think you can just walk to the Great Khan and be granted an audience? Get out! Before I feed you to my horse.
I feel like that actor was having fun.
I always figured Khan to be taller, thicker, more barbaric. But this man seems to possess a dangerous animal cunning. The kind of cleverness to rip off your arms, to crush you at chess.
Money
Is that a Chewbacca joke? Well, whatever. So that's not going to get us anywhere, but this is again one of those situations where what you look like might have an impact on your on the response you get, so that clearly didn't work. Let's try this guy. Try the guard, somebody he can kind of understand.
I didn't think I'd see you again. Here to have your other eye decorated. Just leave now. If you break my concentration again, I'll break you.
Alright, well that didn't get us very far except for some other threats, but that would explain why the guard has a black eye.
Hi, you must be Genghis Khan. I'm a big fan. I've got all your parchments. You're so much more merciful in real life.
Alright, so clearly Khan considers himself to be, to be deep in concentration. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So I feel like the only person who's going to successfully get away with breaking his concentration is the Lama himself. So we might as well be him.
Lama Dulsden, I wanted to tell you that I hit one of your monks earlier. The young one at the bridge with the long staff and the mute tongue. He would answer none of my questions.
You were provoked. That does not sound like something a monk would say. Let's go with this one.
Learned Khan, you need to control your rage.
You are right. I have been having trouble remembering your teachings, Lama. The words just don't seem to stay in my head. My search for the Siddha secrets goes poorly. I will waste no more time here answering riddles.
Okay.
And who is this Siddha?
Still testing me, huh? Well, I remember the tale. Biwa was a young monk who studied here over a century ago. Somehow he abused his powers of faith. He died soon after and was denied nirvana because of his corruption, forcing him onto the wheel of life. You and the other monks seem to think that he will return one day.
I like the way that they found a way around the sort of as you know dialogue in most cases. It wasn't entirely convincing when you're talking to Sinclair or whatever his name is in Atlantis, but I like that it's framed as the Lama testing him to see if he's learned what he's been teaching him. Makes it sound less clunky that you're asking questions that the person you're pretending to know should know the answer to. Anyway,
what do you recall of the Wheel of Life?
Wheel of Life? Bah! I never did believe in reincarnation. But somehow I know the secret of transmutation is involved with the wheel and the 6 realms of unenlightenment. I thought the 6 shrines around the monastery were connected with the Siddha secret, but I couldn't find it.
Alright, what about this transmutation business?
Tell me about transmutation.
It's the power to turn one element into another, lead into gold. I needed to arm my horde. Rebellions in the east are draining my resources, and my campaign is becoming desperate. And now, my search here has failed.
If anything in this monastery sounds like a long-lost alien technology, it would be transmutation. I don't think the Sosikwi who created the legacy came to Shangri-La to teach the monks a more profound way of milking yaks.
Yeah, safe assumption.
Tell me what you know of the Siddha's secret.
Always questioning what I have learned. Phew, stubborn. The Siddha was supposed to have discovered transmutation.
Alright, well, we just established what that was. Kind of a weird way to set it up, but anyway. Alright, well, it sounds like he's getting ready to leave.
Where are you going?
My troops await my presence before we ride against the Muslims in Khwarazm. I must return to the Horde bearing the burden of my first failure.
Yeah, from what I remember, the Khwarazm Empire's going to be quite the punching bag. I think he completely obliterated it.
In case you're not familiar with his work, he commanded the great horde of horseback Mongol warriors, which forged the largest empire ever seen by history up to the 13th century. Not only did he control most of Asia, but he was also known for his hilarious beheaded Shah impressions.
As far as I know, the British Empire is the only one that got any bigger, but yeah, there was a lot of beheading, from what I remember.
Khan's legacy would live on through his sons, who inherited a vast empire that sprawled across most of Asia and even extended into Europe. Kublai Khan, the last and arguably the greatest of Khans, founded the Yuan dynasty and ruled the world empire from China until 1294.
It's a slight oversimplification. Various of his sons and grandsons got different bits of the empire. I don't think it stayed as one thing for very long, but then again, I don't know that it was supposed to. Well, anyway,
We know that the great Khan is being instructed by the Lama. Why don't we visit the Lama disguised as Khan and see if we can get more information?
Aha. Alright. Well, let's do that. Okay, we'll leave the Khan alone because he looks like he's about to kill us.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Lama.
Okay. There we go. Just to cover a few other plot points and hints. I'm going to start by approaching the Lama as the guard. I'll circle around and turn into the Khan a little later, but I love it in here. So restful, so pretty. Oh, I overshot, although slightly difficult to navigate. I keep overshooting. There we go. Alright. Where's the Lama? There he is.
Hello, Tagpo. Could you come back after my meditations? Oh, and put some snow in your eye. It's starting to swell.
He just seems like, I mean, I've met one or two Tibetan monks over the years, and he's carrying off the friendliness of them rather well, at least the ones I know. Alright, so that was just in there for fun. I'm going to try the gardener this time. Oh, a little bit of a hiccup there.
Ah, Himul, good. I wanted to speak to you about the garden. Himul, you don't look well. You have worked yourself too hard. Perhaps you should try more meditation to relieve your tension.
Oh, that's nice.
What about the garden?
I passed by the garden yesterday and noticed that the crops in the tree were doing poorly. How is the garden today?
Working on it.
I'm working on it right now.
Excellent. I'm sure you will get to the root of the problem.
Such subtlety. Alright, hold that thought. That was a really, really in-your-face hint. But anyway, we won't...
What
belabor the
sort
point.
of meditation?
I would recommend that you vigorously increase your Tantric meditations. It always seems to soothe me.
Okay. I'm trying to decide if that's a dirty joke because the word tantric is like in the West tends to be put in front of like kind of meditative sex stuff, but I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Nice of him to be taking an interest. Alright, so...
Goodbye.
Walk with peace, brother.
Cool. Alright, so just wanted to throw those in there, because I do enjoy the artfulness for which you can get the hints and solutions from multiple different places, and that hint about getting to the root of the trouble is going to be important later. Okay, for now, let's do what we came here to do, turn into the con, and take another run at this.
Khan, I must admit, I am pleasantly shocked to see you. I had thought, from your last outburst, that you had given up on the test. Thank you for proving me wrong.
This is such a Buddhist monk sort of sounding thing to say. Right.
Tell me more about this test.
You seek the Siddha's secret. You have discovered that it is hidden somewhere here. But only the Siddha, or someone as virtuous, can claim the secret. So you must travel the true path to follow the steps of the Siddha.
Alright. Sounded like he had to work for that virtuousness, because it sounds like he was a bit naughty first. Alright, well, let's see what else we can find here.
What is the Siddha?
There have been only a handful of monks who have found the inner strength to become a Siddha. The last Siddha to grace this monastery lived here 100 years ago. Old myths say that Siddhas were men of great devotion who could perform miracles of faith. But most people, driven by material wealth, only care to learn about the Siddha's power of transmutation.
Alright, well, we already know what transmutation is, so...
Where's the secret hidden?
Myths of the last Siddha say that his powers of faith twisted his humility. His pride prevented him from reaching Nirvana upon his death, sending him back on the wheel of life. My master once told me that the Siddha hid a secret somewhere on the grounds of this monastery, so he could retrieve it when he returned. No one knows where.
How will the Siddha return?
If he died before escaping the wheel of life, then he is still being reincarnated into the realms of unenlightenment. One day, he may be reborn to the human realm and return here.
Alright, what about the true path?
What is the true path?
That is not an easy question, Khan. The world you know as reality is clouded by illusion, shrouded in deception and vice. Only by walking the true path can one pierce falsehood and achieve the peace needed to escape the realms of the wheel of life. The first step on the path should be to meditate at the 6 shrines and find their purpose. As Buddhists, we need to alleviate the suffering of all, especially those in the unenlightened realms.
Alright. Actually, that's, again, an oversimplification. Certainly, there's often a lot of meditation involved, but if you remember, the first time we visited Shangri-La and we read the text that's scrawled on the wall outside the greenhouse about the 4 Noble Truths, and those give rise to, I think, what they're deriving that true path talk from is the Noble Eightfold Path, which derives from the 4 Noble Truths. But I'm not going to sit here and give you a lecture about that. You can Google it. I actually just Googled the concept of a Siddha is a thing, apparently. It means one who is accomplished. I thought maybe they just made that up, but apparently not. Well, anyway.
Tell me about the temple.
The temple was built long ago by the first Siddha to teach us about the wheel of life. Athanka, A large tapestry hanging in the temple shows the Buddha appearing in each of the realms, carrying specific objects of salvation that alleviate the suffering of those in the unenlightened realms.
Ah, that would be the tapestry that we saw earlier at the in that hall down the other end there. All right, so probably worth bearing in mind. Okay, now if I click on the realms link right now, he's going to offer to tell me about each of the realms individually, but he said there are 6 realms, and by my count we found the one Buddha in the greenhouse, the one outside that's got the yaks around it, the one, the red one next to where the Khan's pitched his tent, and the blue one that's in here, just around the corner from us. So that's, what, 4? We've still got, or no, and the one where he's playing music just before that large hall down the other end. So that's 5. We're missing one. So before I get him to run down all of the realms, we might as well actually try to locate them all. So that we don't break up that conversation into bits. Okay, so with that in mind, I think we'll just leave him be for now. I'm going to ask him about transmutation, just in case he says something other than what Khan said about it.
What is transmutation?
You would know it as the power of the Philosopher's Stone. The ability to turn lead into gold, or one element into another.
Oh, okay. Yeah, alright, so I like how he says you would know it by that, but there's more to it than just lead into gold. Although I did like the Philosopher's Stone being thrown in. I'm not sure if that concept actually exists outside of medieval Europe, but whatever.
Goodbye.
Right, away we go.
Walk with peace, brother.
Genghis Khan, I'm not sure if he knows how to do that.
The Lama said that it's the responsibility of all Buddhists to alleviate suffering. We know the shrines around the monastery are dedicated to the beings suffering in the unenlightened realms. The question is, how are the shrines related to the test of the Siddha?
That is the question, but as previously mentioned, it's probably a good idea to actually find all 6 of them before we make the call on that, so let's start with that. Now, I think I can safely say we've explored all of the monastery buildings. However, if I go back, if I pull this up, so for this map that we found in the greenhouse when we first visited Shangri-La, I just click and drag and drop it, onto my screen here. Then, okay, so there's a Buddha statue. That's probably the building right behind us. There he is with the lute, so that was the building down the other end that we visited. With the 6-piece tapestry and so forth. And then big tree, I'm guessing that's the greenhouse. Okay, so all that taken together, all that taken together, we have the parts that we visited, but, but you gotta be careful not to, you can click and drag to pull it up and down, but if you go too near the edge, it'll just cancel you out of it. But there's all these passages and fire underneath, and there's a really freaky-looking Buddha-style statue image there. Now, these were presumably, we heard about the steam tunnels from Emil the gardener on our first visit, but we haven't been there yet. So how do we get there? Well, you may also recall that if I go over to the platform that the greenhouse is on, there was a grate that we could open if we had something long and hooked, which at the time we didn't, but we do now. So, if we're going to get back over there, I got to ring the bell. Alright, so we're back on the lower plateau below the greenhouse, and there's the Buddha statue and the yaks are just over there. So here is that grate that we noticed on our previous visit, and if we look inside, there is a lever that we can't reach, except that I picked up this hooked gaff in Atlantis that we ended up getting a lot of use out of, so let's see if we can use it here too. Hey. That was nice. You could actually see like a little jimmying and hesitation in that. Alright, so if I climb in here... It's closed behind me. Okay, in we go. So it's a little bit like the pipe into the temple that we used in Atlantis, is that you go into the blackness and you will automatically then emerge out of it a couple of seconds later.
Gage, don't panic, but we may have stumbled into a Turkish prison. According to the Lama, only by walking in the Sita's path can one discover his secret. The Sita died and is now on the wheel of life. Gage, we have to follow his path and overcome the realms of the unenlightened.
Sorry, I forgot that was left over from the conversation with the Lama.
This looks like a natural steam vent. It probably goes down pretty deep. The monks are using the heat from these vents to warm their monastery.
Alright, hopefully you can hear that, but it's just he's just reiterating the whole steam vent thing. So, if we look at this, so we came in, where did we come in? Whoops. I guess this represents where we came in, so, and then, you know, we're in this steam vent thing, so that's maybe the fire. Then, if we look, we've got two ways to go. I can find both of them. So I think that's one of them, and I guess that's the other one. Alright, well, let's try this way. Oh.
Gage, the answer must be in the temple.
Sorry. That's him still talking about the puzzle we were already dealing with. I thought he'd have more to say about where we are now. Ah, now we're getting somewhere. Look at this.
These must be the roots for the tree in the greenhouse. They look a little sickly to me. I'll put it in layman's terms, Gage. We have to offer specific objects to each of the shrines. Salvation objects that relieve the suffering of the unenlightened. By escaping the realms, you become a full-fledged Sita. No longer a nobody, you're with the in-crowd. No more catcalls, no more snapping towels from other monks in the locker room. Oh yeah. Then there's the sandals.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know why usually his pointed hits go away once I've gone far enough, so I don't know why he's suddenly getting so pushy about it. Once I've gone somewhere else, they go away unless I'm standing somewhere that's pertinent. Alright, well... let's see, now... so we're probably below the greenhouse. I think that's where we are. So we are. Oh, there you have it. Alright, so now it's worth it. Now, I'll own up at this point. I could easily have entered the steam tunnels other ways. There are a couple of other grates like this in other places. I just wanted to make the full use of the kit we picked up. But we've come back in here, so those sickly roots are something that the gardener, I guess is still over there, mentioned as the wishing tree that produces the spiritual fruit, may be not in very good health. So, if we go back down to those roots, he specifically thought that the roots had a blight on them or something, so hold that thought. Now, supposing we needed to heal these roots, don't we have something that's for healing? Is this pitcher of water that we picked up in Atlantis? So let's pour that. Woof, jeepers, they look way better
And you
now.
said you didn't have a green thumb. Nice job, Gage.
I think we used it all, but that's okay. Alright, looks much nicer.
Let's check the wishing tree to see if our labors bore fruit.
I see what you did there. So this is an instance wherein the pieces of the puzzle aren't necessarily given to you all in one place. So there you go. That wasn't there before. Looks like an apple, plum maybe. It's in the nature of the design of the environments in this game, and this seems always struck me as being particularly true for Shangri-La. That you could either get the information you need all at once, or just get it a little bit at a time. And there's also scope for just finding out by yourself. So this goes especially for Shangri-La, but also for the other levels in Journeyman Project 3. If I haven't made this clear before, that there are more than ways to arrive at the various solutions than the ones I'm showing you. There's only a few things that you absolutely have to have at various points. Like there are ways around, for instance, the silk scarf situation, but you do need the healing waters for this, and you do need various, offerings and things. But you can get around the silk scarf, for instance, and also you can get around, any number of other fetch quests that you might have to do. There are often more than one way to do it. But more on that in a little bit.
This steam vent area must correspond to the image of fire indicated on the tunnel map.
Oh. Okay then.
Do I expect you to leave the steam tunnel? No, Agent Blackwood. I expect you to die!
So I think what happened is, and yeah, like I was saying earlier, I think Arthur just said it again, fire equals one of these vents, and there are, 3 of them? And this is the different, now I took that fork in the road, now I'm using the other one. Okay.
This tunnel map is helpful, but I think I can add something that would make it even more useful. I'll start updating the positions of the doors onto the map after we've been to a location. I'll also mark our current position on the map. Now that I've done that, can we maybe talk about giving me a raise, a kind word, overtime pay, sick leave? This symbol corresponds with one of the symbols on the map you found in the greenhouse. These symbols should help us match our position in the tunnels to the map.
Now this does strike me as a little strange, because yeah, these there's a bunch of 3-way junctions, each of which has a different emblem carved on the ceiling. So I'm looking up here. But then once you've found one of them, hang on. Now there will always be this arrow showing our whereabouts. So I don't know. It strikes me as a little redundant, but whatever. Anyway, so let's see where else we can go right now. So, as a matter of interest, on behind us, this is back way, so that's back to the steam vents. There's this lever that does that, so closes that way, but it opens another way I can go.
You can thank phosphorescent yellow lichen for the romantic mood lighting in these tunnels. But from what I hear, all the fun's definitely in the red lichen district.
Ew. Alright, so that's going to be important later, not that nonsense that Arthur was just saying. I mean the ability to roll the hatch between 2 different doors. Anyway, okay. So, but if we keep going ahead, so my original objective coming down here, other than to just sort of poke around, it was to find our way over to this frightening image. So, let's see. Yeah, alright. So, I think if I keep going this way, okay, so where are we now? No, we're over here. Okay, so I want to go down this way and then up, so that means I have to about face and do that. Okay, so fair is fair. My navigating these tunnels is going to come up a couple of times, and it's going to get really wearisome for people to watch if it's just a combination of me, moving through identical tunnels, moving hatches, and frantically checking the map over and over and over again. But all of those things taken together, anybody can do. I just wanted to show you this is how you navigate in here for now. And then I will try to edit out as much of the transitions from room to room as I can, so that, because everyone playing this will end up having different manners of going about it. So with that in mind, I'll try to just cut to the chase during the tunnel navigating sequences. Having said that, I do need to show you something important, is that occasionally you'll run into this situation. The hatch is closed and I'm not on the right side to open it up again. So if I look at this, yeah, there you go. I didn't notice that before, is that this side is blocked off. So what I'm going to have to do is go back here, down and around, and then up, or I have to go back, move this hatch back over, because once I've been into each of these junctions, they'll show me the position the hatch is in, and then hook all the way around here. So those are your options. I'll do one of them, and then we'll resume. Alright, so I'm looking up at the ceiling now, and... oh, Arthur has something to say.
There's another symbol. Looks like they were placed on the walls to mark positions to help people find their way.
Well, yeah. Okay, so this is the one that, well, I interpreted as looking like 3 pots or jars or something. And beyond that, in the one, so, and then the 2 junction tunnels go that way and that way. So if I take this one, it'll take me to that creepy looking room marked on the map. Yep, spooky is the word.
This mural is a representation of the Buddha, much like the black statue in this room, but it appears that this depiction emphasizes the inside of the Buddha's body. And over here is the X-ray of a smoking Buddha.
Yeah, that's not a little creepy.
The writing on the wall loosely translates to, "Channel your energy to obtain the enlightenment you seek."
Channel your energy. Alright, so let's get a little closer. Here's the one shrine we haven't been to yet.
Welcome to the Wax Museum. Along the north wall you will see a marvelous replica of Boris Karloff as the Black Buddha.
Sounds like something Karloff would do.
That sketch shows detailed plans to build a Buddha statue. From all the butter churning equipment, I'd say it's a schematic to build a better butter Buddha.
Right. Alright, oh, and I can take something, so that is, what is this? Butter, well, okay, butter bottle? Whatever, doesn't matter. The point is it contains yak butter.
From the tools and instruments, I'd say someone is using this room to create yak butter sculptures. Or the monks have started a lucrative leg waxing business.
Ew. Alright, well, what's the realm on this one called?
The Shrine of the Hell's Realm. To burn away their sins.
I remember when I was at school reading a story in one of those, like, readers' anthologies that they used in English class, that described the Buddha as trying to save someone from hell, which confused me because I didn't know that that was a thing in Buddhism at the time. This was like when I was like 8th grade, mind. But the information that they use in the game is anything like correct. I'm beginning to understand it.
Let's go talk to Lama Blinky about this.
There's that joke about him in Lama Blinky. I couldn't remember where the heck that was. That said, we have now seen all 6 statues. So I guess it's a yellow one in the greenhouse. There's the red one out in the courtyard, the blue one in the main temple. And then there's the green one that's got the yak standing next to it. There's the golden or white one, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to interpret as, that's holding the musical instruments. And then there's the black one that we just left. Alright, so I'd show you a trick. I'll go to somewhere, if I go up to this one that has this thing that looks like a dead tree written on the ceiling, then from there I can get directly back into the main chapel. And first I have to figure out how to get there. Oh, maybe I've gone back to the greenhouse. Oh, no, I don't think I have. It looks similar. I feel like the developers were so tired from just planning out that underground maze that it was probably a relief to get to recycle so many assets from the layout of each little chamber inside. Okay, so no, we were still pretending to be Khan when we came up to him to ask questions, and asking about the realms was on the list, so I'll keep pretending to be Khan for this.
Great Khan, how may I be of service to you?
Okay, so we've been to all 6 realms, let's ask him.
Tell me about the realms.
Which realm do you wish to know about?
Alright, so here they all are, but I'll warn you right now, the way it works is after he's told you about each realm, it'll go back to the first dialogue screen and you have to say, tell me about the realms, and he'll say, which realms do you want to know about, over and over and over again. So, rather than make you sit through that, I'll go through that cycle and get him to tell us about all 6 realms, but I'll edit out the preamble on each one. Alright, start with the human realm, since, that's where we live.
Tell me about the human realm.
Yes, our world. It is a realm of illusion, where most do not even realize that their existence is undesirable. But the human realm holds the most potential to reach Nirvana. To do so, one must achieve humility. The symbol for salvation is the alms bowl of the pauper, the humblest of objects to control pride.
What about... I find it interesting that humans have more potential to achieve nirvana than gods.
Tell me about the gods' realm.
The gods are decadent beings. Their vice is selfishness. Blinded by opulence, they ignore the suffering of others until they are consumed by conceit. The symbol of salvation for the gods is music, which disrupts their vain reverie.
Tell me about the Asurus realm.
The mighty titans brood in the Asurus realm. They care only for war. The Asurus constantly battle an eternal losing war against the gods to win their glittering realm. The only salvation the Asurus understand is a large red sword that burns with truth.
Alright, this one we've already talked about.
Tell me about the Praetus realm.
Praetus, the hungry ghosts. They are insubstantial, constantly tantalized by things they cannot touch, taste, or consume. It is a torment for a former life of gluttony. The object of salvation is pure sacred fruit, food that will finally quench their ravenous desires.
Tell me about the hells.
Hell, truly a terrible place. This is the domain of the wicked and sinful. Those tortured for the transgressions of the past, suffering in hells of both searing heat and numbing cold. The symbol for salvation is a purifying heat that burns away all sin.
Tell me about the animal realm.
You wish to learn of the animal realm. First, you must answer this. What is the source of all misery?
Oh, this one's a little more complicated. Wine, womanizers, song. Alright, well, the word ignorance has been kind of brought up as a bad thing a few times, so... And I don't want to sit through the ridiculousness of the other 3.
The answer is ignorance.
Congratulations! You are closer to completing the path. The animal realm is a kingdom of ignorance. Although swift and savage, the animals lack intellect to uplift themselves, the ability to learn. Here is the salvation symbol for this realm. The Book of Knowledge.
It's not very often you ask a question in an adventure game and the solution just gets handed to you like that. Also, I hate it when books are called the Book of Knowledge. It's like, is there another kind? I don't know, Harlequin romance novels maybe? Anyway, sorry, that was a cheap shot. Anyway, now we have learned about all 6 of the realms. We can leave him alone for now.
Goodbye.
Walk with peace, brother.
Okay. Well, now we have a way forward of what offerings to make, or what kind of offerings that we can make to these shrines. So I suppose the logical one to start with would be the one we're standing right in front of. And alright, so this we establish is the Shrine of the Human Realm. This is the biggest, oddly enough. And
The blue Buddha must represent the shrine to the human realm of the Wheel of Life. Lama Dulsden said that the symbol of salvation is the alms bowl of the pauper, a beggar.
Now, curiously enough, I do have some bowl-like objects here, and I think it's meant to rest in his hand. Because traditionally, monks would beg for alms to maintain their vow of poverty, I think. But none of these bowl objects seem to be getting the job done. So now, a specific, goodness knows how it can tell the difference, but he did mention that the particular type of bowl is an offering bowl of a beggar. Well, we've seen a beggar, but not in Shangri-La, so it's looking like what we actually need to do is go back to Atlantis. With that in mind, though, we will take a break before we go to that, and then we'll be in the home stretch. Alright, catch you later.